Welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 224. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, we have a new digger, Joseph Adams, who's dug up DOSGames /arcade2 /clacks2_10. I will be very disappointed if this is not a Clacks game. Well, we do have a Clacks.exe. We also have a Clacks pun that's apparently told in 4 bytes. So probably not actually a pun, probably just storing like a high score or something. Got a readme, a couple char files, and a couple BGI files. So clearly written with Borland stuff. And I just noticed that is a pretty small executable size. Well, let's edit the readme.txt. So we got Clacks 2 version 1.0, copyright 92 by Hernan Tillum? To play Clacks 2 is recommended that you have at least an EGA monitor. Looking at the stuff here, you only included EGA-VGA.BGI and VGA256.BGI, so yeah, you kinda actually need an EGA monitor at the least. Okay, so score as high as possible, you're supposed to catch the bricks and release... This isn't word wrapped. Okay, that's very unusual. Yeah, with any kind of DOS text file, it's very unusual to see it not word wrapped. Because there weren't a lot of viewers that could do that. Like word wrap automatically, I mean. But anyways, you're supposed to catch the bricks and release them with the enter return key. As you stack the bricks in 3 or more, they disappear and you score. The next level is reached due to time. Each time you go to the next level, 2 more colors are added. Okay, so stack 3, 4, 5 horizontal for points. Stack 3 or 4 vertical. Wait, what? Okay, that makes sense because you can't, because of the shape and size of the Clacks playfield, if this is using the same shape and size, then it would be impossible to get a 5 stack of vertical. But where's the mention of diagonal? Because Clacks did diagonals. Tell me a Clacks game doesn't do diagonals? Oh, this is not a good sign. Warning! In 386 or higher and very fast PCs, the game becomes almost impossible. Not almost impossible. I recommend that in those cases, you play the game with sound activated and without the turbo. Oh boy, so basically this is the guy's way of saying, I don't know how to properly time things. Also, you're welcome to copy this software and pass it around. However, if you play the game and like it, I encourage you to send me a check for $8 so that I can continue to support my studies, send you new releases, and keep you on my mailing list for other products. And yeah, we already established the guy's name. Okay. So, clearly got some kind of Clacks game going on. Let's see how it plays. Clacks squared by, oh. Oh boy. Okay. So, we've established that this person's first language is definitely not English. Not the least of which being that copyright is spelled wrong, but also the fact that, yeah, that's not English down there. Okay. And yeah, this is going way too fast. Okay, let's try this again. So, I'm trying to remember if I actually saw, like, controls for the game. Oh, I must have already pressed it. Okay, so we're into the gameplay now. Oh, wow. Okay, so the game... The game has this piercing sound effect when you catch a piece. Also, I should point out right now that the controls are actually really bad. There's a massive amount of delay in the controls. Like, not even a little bit. Now, I'm compensating as best as I can, but... yeah, you basically have to push keys ahead of time to ensure that what's happening works out properly. Okay, let's test to see if diagonals work, but I got a funny feeling they won't. Nope, no diagonals in this Clacks game. I can't stress enough how much the sound in this game is hurting my ears. I think I'm gonna turn it off. Think the S key? Yes, S key turns us out. Whoa, things just started going really fast as soon. What? The sound is off, and yet it's still making sounds when you complete a thing. Wow, you can't even get the sound disabling function right. Okay. So, that was Clacks 2, or Clacks Squared. I get the impression this author bit off a little more than he could chew, because... okay, it even turns the sound back on by default. Okay, yeah, so the sound is obnoxious. It doesn't turn off forever. If you do turn it off, it doesn't turn off everything, just the sounds for the stuff moving. Not to mention the game goes so much faster with the sound off, and I'm imagining the reason that's happening is because he's probably implemented... oh yeah, that's right, there's no diagonals. And yeah, there's no diagonals! What kind of Clacks clone doesn't have diagonals? So yeah, I would say this is a fair start towards making a Clacks game, but in terms of playability right now, it is not very playable. There's a lot of delay on the controls. And again, the sound is obnoxious. So yeah, it's a valiant start, but this game needs a lot more work. Next up, we have another new digger, Christian Topnik, who's dug up wingames/wc/stacks. You know, with a name like Stacks, I'm gonna guess this might be another Clacks game, but we're gonna find out in a second. The executable size is not big, so, well, let's see. Stacks for Windows. Stacks is a variation on the classic game of Tetris. Well, we've already had a columns game pretending to be Tetris. Maybe this will be a Clacks game pretending to be Tetris. Played by dropping stacks of blocks. Points are accumulated when 3 blocks of the same color are lined up or something. Why do so many of these games pretend to be like Tetris when they're actually copying some other action puzzle game? Holy jeez. Yeah, this sounds like Clacks. Although, you know what? With description like that, it could also be columns. Actually, let's see what the controls are, because that might help us. So left, use left arrow for numpad or click the arrow. Right, drop is also an option. It still doesn't tell. Well, actually, yeah. So this is sounding a little more like columns than Clacks, just from the fact that there's a drop as opposed to a speed up. Because in Clacks, you would have a speed up, right? So... we got pause, stop game, and it says here that we're an unregistered user. Please, if you like this program, send $10 to Chris Dyer. Okay, so not much else to that. If this is a Windows game, it's, well, yeah, 9093 Windows game. It's only 25K. Well, let's see how this runs. It has a maximize button, but I got a funny feeling that even this window size here that it decided on is a little bigger than it needs to be. So I'll shrink it down there. I'm gonna probably shrink it down just a little more. Okay, let's see how this works. So yeah, this is looking more like columns than Clacks, just based on what this little next window looks like here. But let's see. Got an about, stacks for Windows, unregistered. Oh yeah, even even the icon here looks like columns. Got instructions built into the game. So what is the rotate one? Plane is controlled with the following. 5 space to rotate, 2 down to drop, 4 left, 6 right. Okay, so we're playing with the numeric keypad, it looks like. So make sure numlock is on, because it seems like it might be using the number button specifically. And then what else we got? Play options. Easy, moderate, hard, starting level, enable sounds. Oh, that might be fun. Well, what kind of sound effects could it be? It's 26K 25 kilobyte executable. Might be PC speaker. Well, let's see. Okay, so... Whoa. Okay. So that was kind of... Huh. Yeah, there's almost like a kind of delay between putting something down and actually seeing it, like it advances in the next and then it goes down. It's kind of weird. Okay, that's interesting. It actually has like the full color pieces. Like this is 3 of the same color, so no matter where it lands, it's going to disappear. So might as well take out other stuff with it in the process. Be nice to see if it could handle chains and stuff. The only trick is actually setting stuff like that up. It's not something I was ever really good at when it came to columns games. Usually if I end up with a chain in a columns game, it's entirely by luck. Okay, I'm trying to get something going here, but I'm not getting the kind of pieces I would want to get something going. Like I'm specifically looking for an okay, there's the orange that I want. Although I don't think I'm going to have as much of a reaction here as I was hoping for. No. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it does do the chains properly. Like, I mean, I'd be surprised if it didn't, but... Oh, should be another one. Ooh, got a triple chain there. So yeah, this is a perfectly playable version of columns. It's just, once again, we have a situation where the author doesn't seem to either know that columns exists, which is doubtful. This came out in '93, apparently. Or a situation where he's just trying to avoid copyright by using someone else's trademark instead, thus completely invalidating the attempt. It's kind of weird, the kind of measures some authors went to in order to try and protect themselves from, like, various copyrights or trademarks and stuff, but ultimately when it came down to it, they were making clones. So you really shouldn't be referencing other games as in like the description of your clone. Like that's something that I see happen a lot, especially with indie titles, is they explain their game by referencing other games. And that's not inherently bad, but you want to try to avoid doing that because you would hope that your game, the way it is, can stand on its own merits without having to claim fame through something else. But yeah, this is Stacks. It's a perfectly okay columns game, and for $10, if you didn't want to spend too much on a columns game, well, here you go. And our last take for today is from Troy Bowman, DOSGames /PD1/SokoSW. Yeah, a trifecta of classic puzzle games today. First Clacks, then Columns, and now Sokoban. At least I'm assuming it's going to be Sokoban. Although that name worries me, Sokobal, as opposed to Sokoban. We seem to have some SOK files. Now, based on the fact that those SOK files are all the same size, I'm going to guess that those are the boards, in which case there's only 5 of them. Anyways, let's do edit Sokobal.doc. So let's see if this actually is Sokoban or not. So, Sokobal, game of forethought and strategic design. Copyright 93 by Jim Radcliffe. So you need a 286 or better with VGA. A keyboard would be nice too. Yeah, probably. So what is Sokobal? Sokobal is my version of the Sokoban puzzles you may have seen in the past. Okay, yeah, Sokoban confirmed. We have 3 classic puzzle games in today's Shovelware Diggers. So, Sokoban is Japanese for warehouse man. In Sokoban puzzles, you must generally push a number of boxes around the screen to a designated position. The keyword here is push. In Sokoban puzzles, that is the only way you can move any box. You must push it to its destination. Sokobal abides by this rule as well, in most cases. Wait, what? Are we going to be bending the rules here? Well, that's interesting. It says right here that it actually comes with a built-in editor. So, okay, it'd be nice if I could get some controls. I didn't see any. I guess probably just going to be using the arrow keys, but Also, the guy's only released it here as shareware, distribute it for non-commercial purposes, and wants $10 if you want the non-shareware version. And apparently the commercial version is... Actually, what does it say? Interesting. So the registered version allows you some new gizmos for the editor, and the ability to make the puzzles uneditable by others. Which, you know... given the given the small size of those SOK files, I don't think there'd be a very good way to prevent them from being edited manually by people. So it's probably just going to be like a very simple lock that could be defeated just through some hex editing by someone who knows what they're doing. In any case, yeah, let's just run it. Sokoban. We got a blank screen. Oh, there we go. Sokoban of Osaka. Game of forethought and strategic design. Press enter key to begin. Press spacebar to view the puzzles available. Press the enter key to load the displayed puzzle. Okay, so we got a Shoni. Bonsai. Okay, so check. These are the same files that were in the folder. So you basically get 5 with this unregistered version. Okay, so I guess S to select? Or no, enter to load the puzzle. Oh. This doesn't look like any Sokoban I'm aware of. Did I miss something? Because I was reading the... Okay, it wasn't .text. What was it? .doc. I was reading through this. I didn't see anything that mentioned, like, unusual kinds of objects or anything. Like, I mean, it says right here that it abides by this rule as well in most cases. But, like, I mean... Oh, maybe I should have read this section more closely. I wanted to add some additional hazards and obstacles to overcome in Sokoban, such as one-way streets, pop-up barriers, and floor plans that change when you cross certain floor tiles. Didn't want to force anyone to complete a series of puzzles in a specific order. Yeah, but it says right here, I wanted to add, not I did add. So it's like he wanted to put these things in but didn't, but yet he clearly did. But also the other thing that's a little tricky here is that it doesn't actually say what any of these things do or what they look like. Well, I guess you can't really show them. It's in a text file, but like maybe there's some help in the game that could help figure out, like, what all these different things do. Yeah, I'm not seeing any, like, help or anything. Although maybe if we go into the editor... That doesn't help either. It doesn't say what any of these objects are. How are you supposed to know what you're doing with the editor, or with the puzzles at all, if you don't actually know what any of the tiles are? Like, I mean, I can guess some of them, but not all of them. Like, I mean, there is a demo mode. We could try the demo mode, see how that goes. Okay, so it looks like those diamond spaces, like, cause the floor beneath to disappear, and then move when you... Yeah, it's like rearranging the floor as you move on them. I'm just trying to figure out what's actually going on here, like what... Oh, he's just trying to move it to that little disposal bin, in a sense. So I'm guessing that's basically the goal, is just get all the boxes into the disposals or something? It's not like trying to put them all into separate spots. Okay, so the demo's about to finish there. And that's it. So... Okay, so I guess select a board. Like, maybe I should try selecting a different board. So what's the bonsai board look like? Okay, this one looks a little less intimidating. Yeah, basically just get all the boxes in the hole. What could be simpler? Also, there's like an E thing in the very bottom right corner. I don't know what that's about. Well, I'm already faced with an interesting conundrum here. How do I get anything anywhere? Okay, the only thing I'm seeing that could potentially work is moving this one up like that, so that I can move this one down first to push into this area here. Oh, these arrows push you automatically when you step on them. Okay. Interesting. And now for the ones that are down there. I think what I want to do is just push these up like this and just use the same method that I've already been using to get these ones to go down. Okay, so thankfully this bonsai puzzle was not a difficult one to start with. It did have a few difficulties, but I just had to sort of like look it over and notice that, yeah, there was only really one way to get things started, and then it was pretty simple from there. So we'll get this one pushed down, and then it's just 2 left. So this one we can just push up directly, don't need to work it all the way around. And then all that's left is this one. This one, I'm going to push it down like that. And then push it around like this. And we push it over here and down the hole. Okay, so managed to clear that one. Let's try a different one. We got sushi, which basically looks like a fish. Although I don't understand how some of this is going to work. Like, everything I can think to do... Well, okay, you can step over the hole, but then what? Okay, the only thing that makes sense that isn't going to cause any long-term problems is to move like this. And that gets us in here. And then move out like that. And then I think the rest of this is just very straightforward. So the sushi puzzle, also not so bad. But again, it's not using any of those special features that were being demoed. And Tokyo. Okay, so this one looks like it might be a little more manageable than that first one that we saw. What does that? Oh, it does nothing. Or it might do something. Yeah, looking at this puzzle here, it looks like there would be a lot of tricky things to worry about here. We do have a couple holes that we can send the boxes into. Okay, we can't step on those. And yeah, there's not really any way up there unless we go over these special tiles. It's like if I step on here and start going up. So yeah, so that kind of, it brought us up here, lets us push these things down. And then I'm guessing what we want to do here is like pull that aside, maybe? Like, I mean, if I step on here and pull that up, and then pull that aside, and then pull this up again. Okay. And so that'll let us push this one through. But we'll still need to go over those barriers one more time. So now it's just a matter of making sure that I don't screw myself over and make sure I push these down in like an order that makes sense. But yeah, that wasn't too bad. Kind of helps to have an idea now of what some of these symbols mean, but I don't like the fact that the game doesn't really do a good job of explaining the symbols. Like, that's one thing you gotta do, is you gotta make sure that players understand what things do so they can solve the puzzle appropriately. If they don't know what anything does, how are you supposed to solve the puzzle? So yeah, that was Sokoban of Osaka, which apparently is basically a more advanced Sokoban game that doesn't explain itself very well, but has a built-in editor. So yeah, for what the author wanted $8 for this. The graphics are kind of interesting as well. Like, you got some interesting graphics on here. I'm not doing this puzzle, because this puzzle looks like it would hurt my brain. But yeah, definitely an interesting one.